Hello, it's Renee, and did I record this once already? Yes, I did. Did I properly do the audio and, speak up so that I could be heard on the recording? Absolutely not. Why do things once when you could do them multiple times, right? Right? Well, let's go ahead and do this one again. So I signed up for the Hay House subscription box, and I just got my first delivery of it. It's the March 2024 box. It came in, let's see, it came in a large cardboard box with Penguin Random House on it. And then on the inside was this smaller white box. It didn't really have any marking on it, so I actually didn't know what it was and just opened it like an animal, not even realizing it was this card deck club. I thought it was something I had ordered off of Amazon, actually. So I've already opened it up because your girl does not have any patience, and I also didn't have this overhead set up at the time. And, I knew it was not going to happen. I was not going to wait that long. So the reason why I was interested in starting the subscription box was because, well, I like tarot, and they basically send you 3 decks. Usually a tarot and 2 oracles seems to be the trend for it, and that's what it's this time as well. It's new items, so they're not sending you older things, which is good because if it were older, there'd be a concern that you already had something in the box. But these generally tend to be new releases. So, and I won't lie, Hay House isn't always my style. Um, a lot of things are often either like a bit too new agey for me, or maybe a uh, uh, maybe like old fashioned or like cheesy style of oracle or tarot. But that's fine. That's why I was interested too. I knew it wouldn't be something that I would already have grabbed off the shelf when the box came out, and even if it's not something I'm aesthetically interested in, I'm always still curious about working with that sort of material in case I don't want to miss out on any wisdom, you know? Maybe they've got stuff to teach me. So, like I said, I've already recorded this, so everything is in a mess on my desk. Let's go over the tarot first. So we've got the Animal Guides Tarot by Radley Valentine. And look, I'm no expert. I think this is maybe like a rerun of a deck that's been around for a while, maybe with Doreen Virtue on it, I think. Because when I look it up, I get um, I get coverage from like 5 or 6 years ago, and it's about a Doreen Virtue deck. But if you haven't, I don't know much about that. I just know that she canceled herself. I don't know. So they've recreated this one with just Radley Valentine's name on it. So it's the usual Hay House box. Nice material and nice size. I like these for storage better than the large Llewellyn ones, which I don't tend to keep intact. They're just too big for me to want to store that many. We've got a guidebook here. It's pretty thick. It looks solid to me. It doesn't have the images in it, but I personally don't care. That's fine with me. And I read through a couple examples and they seem to be solid. This is a person who is familiar with tarot, has worked with tarot for a long time, and made a really solid guidebook. Okay, the backs on these, it's not reversible, which I don't care about. The only thing that does bother me though is that it's one of the cards. I just don't like, I'm always going to be thinking about the High Priestess when I look at the back of the cards. I just want to be feeling more neutral, I think. So I prefer a neutral pattern background than using one of the cards, that's all. That's just a personal preference myself. And then, so here we go. We've got the large colorful border, which is a bit of an older deck style, I believe. I don't see it on a lot of the more modern ones that I've picked up. And then we've got the title at the top. They're using the element instead of the usual minor arcana. So this is water instead of cups, but that's still quite good. And that's still easy to translate in your head, I think. And then they've got the addition of a phrase at the bottom, which I really like that. I think it's good for beginners to have a little bit of guidance right on the card. And then if you want more, you can always go to the guidebook and get the full explanation of it. So for this one, the Seven of Cups, it's time to stop procrastinating and make a decision so that you can move forward with a priority. If you need to do more research, then do so, but don't overthink the situation. Listen to your heart. And I do think that's an accurate analysis of this card. The usual imagery for this is the person, looking up at 7 cups in the clouds filled with different things that they're imagining, and it is kind of the daydreaming card. So I think that's a good prescription for when someone pulls this card. So usually I don't always understand the animal associations here. I do catch myself needing to look at the descriptions in the guidebook to see why they chose that. It's not like immediately obvious to me. I think someone who is more familiar with various animals might have an easier time of it. So they do have some like nature wildlife type animals and some domestic pet breeds as well. I do like that for the court cards, they have an additional line here for keywords, which I love because I'm admittedly not great at the court cards. I find them a little bit boring, I won't lie, and I tend to get them mixed up easily and forget what their general meanings are because I just haven't studied them as thoroughly as I should. But I do like this, the Knight of Earth, trustworthy, dedicated, protective, and funny. And it makes sense. I can understand the animal association here because I believe male seahorses do watch after the seahorse babies. I'm not sure what the technical term is for that, but like family oriented, trustworthy, dedicated, that association makes a lot of sense to me. So quite good. And this imagery might be familiar if you're already used to the existing deck that Doreen Virtue was on. I'm going to do a spread with all of them at the end, so I'll read out one of the descriptions from the guidebook about it. I know you might be thinking these decks don't match, but I'm going to do it anyway, even if it's an abomination. Okay, so let's look at this one next. Okay, we've got the Golden Future Oracle. You know what? Based on the art style, it's not one that I would pick up, but I have to admit it is eye-catching, and it does basically remind me of Lisa Frank binders that I absolutely had when I was a kid. I grew up in the 90s, and that's what this really makes me think of. So it does have some concepts that are a little, that I just wouldn't maybe know how to read intuitively and will probably rely on the guidebook for. But it also has some that I think that you could use as like motivation for your day. Maybe you're just going to clean up your house or your property or work on a community cleaning effort or something like that. Just reduce, reuse, recycle. Maybe decorating your home, making it a place that you want to be. Maybe adjusting how much resources you use, like water and power, clothing, and maybe think about what you're wearing in a sustainable way, but also one that reflects your style. Maybe wear something that's been in the closet that you haven't worn for a while. So you could definitely use this as kind of a daily draw that you just use intuitively as well. The guidebook. I'm personally, I can take what works and leave what doesn't. Some of the stuff in here doesn't. I'm just going to kind of show this page maybe without too much comment. It seems kind of a prophecy type dealio that I'm not really going to have a lot of buy-in for. Or sometimes there's things that don't really resonate with me, like talking about most of the population being vegetarian, will eat fish, that will need lighter food to sustain them. I don't know. I think no matter what, no matter what it is, your body's still probably going to need the same. It's probably still going to have the same energy requirements, but I get it's an idealized future, imaginative world, and I can live with that. And generally, I still find other things that are useful in here. You know, like even if you only have room for a few pots, grow some herbs or fruit and vegetables and tend them lovingly. Now, hey, I think that's great advice. Happy to do that. I do enjoy the bright saturated colors. Like I said, it's very Lisa Frank reminiscent. I think this artist does a lot of like digital collage. Okay. And the last one in there was the Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle. This one is really beautiful art. This is one that I would be attracted to like on the retail shelf. Um, so I'm very happy to get it now. It actually, the guidebook mentions this is the Sankofa bird, which is from Ghana, I believe. And I really love the patterns on the back, and I like that it means something too, and is relevant to the topic of the deck. So I've not personally done any ancestor work. The guidebook does have some good introductory material as well. You know, maybe some like common questions that people might have about working with your ancestors. And I really like this how to honor your ancestors section because I like rituals. I grew up in the church and I don't really relate to that anymore. But the one thing that I do like are like rituals. I think they're helpful to keep you grounded and to keep respect for for various aspects within your life. And I just really like the section about honoring ancestors. It mentions speaking their name, visiting grave sites, setting up ancestral altars or shrines, pouring libations, tributing them with an offering such as ancestor money, writing praise poems, telling their stories, setting their place at a table on special occasions, connecting through nature, heal their lineage by healing yourself, things like that. So I really do appreciate that. Okay. And they also have some spreads in here as well, quite a few actually, especially relating to their use regarding ancestors. And they've also got some inner child work and a whole family tree spread that's pretty complex. Okay. So the structure of this deck is actually very relatable to tarot. They have all of the majors are represented in here. So if you wanted, you could take out all of the major aligned cards and use that as a majors only deck, essentially, if you like these artistic representations, which I do. I think they're very beautiful. So here I'm going to get the star. Here's the magician, I believe. Um, the sun. And then got the high priestess here. Sorry, I've already shuffled these, so they're not in order. But yeah, you have the whole section of majors, and then there's the world, judgment, and then there's also the aces. So you've got like they're called differently. This is altar of water, but it's the ace of cups, and they've also got a phrase here, which is helpful on all the cards. I like all of these phrases they've got. Um, I still need to learn the cards myself, quite honestly. So I appreciate different interpretations and additional keywords to keep in mind. So, you know, the rest of the deck is essentially the aces, and then they also have the court cards. So we've got the root of water here, which would be the page, and this is also on the box in the guidebook. Very beautiful artwork. And then we have creatures, which are knights. So we've got the Knight of Cups right here. The queens are mothers. So we've got the Queen of Cups right here. And then I don't have the Father of Cups out, but the king would be father of the element. So very beautiful artwork, heavily related to tarot. It's essentially a deck of majors, aces, and court cards reimagined. It's very beautiful. You've got the lovers, and they're using kind of the Gemini version of it. Okay, now there are three additional cards that don't relate directly to the tarot, although they kind of do. This is the only one that's really not related to tarot. I don't believe in it anyway. It's called the Unknown Enigma. So I think this is a very beautiful card. And then there's Mother God and Father God, although the guidebook mentions that these do kind of relate to the High Priestess and the Hierophant in some ways, via their planetary associations apparently. But, you know, a very beautiful deck. Oh, and I forgot to mention that with each subscription box, you get an insert here, and it'll have some imagery. For this one, it actually does come from this deck. This is the Altar of Fire, as they call it, which would be the Ace of Wands in a standard tarot deck, and you can see kind of why it would be there. And then on the back, it'll have a QR code, which if you go there, I think you can see throughout the month live videos from the deck creators talking about their decks. And it also has a clue for the next box. So for the June box, it says, which will reveal the mystique of hidden realms, ancient wisdom through ancient stones, and the guidance of celestial beings. So I had a look at the Hay House website, but they didn't have any like upcoming decks listed, so I'm not actually sure what decks that's referring to, so I guess it'll be a surprise to me. But, and another thing that I liked about this guidebook too to mention was that I think a lot of the cards, or maybe all of them actually, reference either historical figures or like mythical or folktale figures as well. So like this one is the Root of Water, which I think would be the Page of Cups, and in that one they're talking about the goddess Edibe, supreme creatrix and mother. And I really like that because it gives you a story to go along with them, and a lot of these are stories that I don't know. So I really appreciate having additional stories to go along with the majors and the court cards, which I have trouble memorizing. So the more the better for me. And the guidebook, it does give you quite a bit. It's not even for one of the majors, but you get almost 2 pages. It tells you what tarot card it corresponds to, and even gives you an affirmation as well. So I choose to express my feelings openly and fully. And that's for the Page of Cups, which makes sense. It's a good association. It also mentions plants quite a bit. So on each card, or a lot of them as well, there are specific plants or flowers given, which are related to the meaning of the card. So, they're talking about the Page of Cups, and there are hibiscus on them. They're talking about how it has youthful energy. So I just like that very much as a person who likes plants. So the Page of Cups is the image that is on the guidebook. So here's the hibiscus flowers they're talking about here, and it appears to be a representation of that goddess, specific goddess as well. So it doesn't give the full story of those people or mythologies in the guidebook, but you can always look those up separately if you want more background on them too. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a spread with all of these. I know it maybe feels wrong because they don't match, but I don't care. I feel like even if, oh, this one is so thick, I am going to struggle with, oh, good Lord. I don't want to bend it the other way because it's already bending that way. So that's why I'm shuffling it this way. And I already shuffled it the other day too. Good Lord. This is cardboardy and it is thick. Let's just do a simple 3-card spread. And because we've got one past deck, that's Ancestor Wisdom, a regular tarot deck, and then an idealized future deck. Let's do past, present, future. And we'll do the tarot card in the center. I'm just going to pick one. Oops, I guess I should turn it right side up. I'm just going to pick one. Oh. Okay. I'm just going to pick one. And we've got Ace of Air. So we'll read this as a problem we're facing in the present. And then we'll get some advice from the past. And some suggestions for the future as well from the other deck. It's cardboardy too, but since it's smaller, it's easier to deal with. So I just pick one at random. Okay, advice from the ancestors on that. And then some advice from the future. It's already bending, so I'm just gonna shuffle it backwards again. Oy. Really sticks together with this. Is that the right way? Yeah. Really sticks together with this glossy finish. Okay. Let's get some advice from the idealized future. There we go. Planetary cleansing. Okay. All right. So we've got the Ace of Air, which is the Ace of Swords. Implementation of your brilliant new idea may get off to a rocky start, but keep going. The challenges will help you refine your plan and reshape your goals into something even better. So this includes the problem and kind of a suggestion. Maybe there's a new project going on that is a bit rocky. This absolutely applies to me at work right now. I am dealing with a new project where every day it just feels like there's a new fire to put out. So that is nice to hear that it should eventually work out in the future. So I am a little confused about how the panda relates. I honestly have no idea. So let's go to the guidebook and see how the panda relates to. Okay. So determination, the patience needed to eventually succeed, seeing both sides of an issue and staying focused on your goal. Okay. So the panda's diet consists of 99% bamboo, which can grow in places that are difficult to reach, but still these bears climb and stretch until the bamboo is in their grasp, symbolizing the determination to continue on your path, regardless of the challenges before you. Yeah, I have a hard time grasping that. I would have a hard time remembering the meaning of the card based on the image alone. I suppose that does make sense. They're just saying it's something that moves forward steadily despite obstacles. Okay. So advice from the past on dealing with implementation of a new idea in the present. So we've got the Ancestral Force Completion, which is the World card in tarot. So we've got the 4 animals as usual and the circular vine here. 21. These are easy to find. They've got the numbers on them. The Ancestral Force comes through as the Yoruba Egungun Masquerade. Egungun is a celebration of ancestral spirits that provides a portal for participants to communicate with those who have transitioned. Allow yourself to be more vulnerable with the people in your inner circle. If you don't have people you can be open with, consider allowing in more people. I embrace my sacred connection to infinite potential is the affirmation, which is very applicable when you are struggling on something. You need to remember that you have a lot of talents and potential that can see you through the current problem. And it does seem like the medicine is also very applicable. You want to, when you are struggling with something, you want to have people that you can open up with, maybe spitball your ideas or the problems you're facing off of. So I think that's, very good advice. If you're in a situation like me where you're running into problems with the project at work even, um, to celebrate yourself, continue to celebrate the small milestones that you reach as you're working towards full completion. Those are still important to reach, and to remember that people have your back and that new opportunities might be nerve-wracking, but they should still be embraced. Okay. And then we've got advice or what to look forward to maybe in the future, or something to consider about how a project with a rocky start could be approached from an idealized future perspective. So we've got planetary cleansing. Keep your space pure and clear, which even without turning to the guidebook, my work desk right now is an absolute mess. I have notes everywhere. And there's like there's old water glasses, old food plates. Like honestly, it's been a hot mess for like a week. So even without reading it, this is gonna make me think about tidying that up. Clear your space to clear your mind when you're working on something complicated. Okay, so this is more about a global, like an ecological approach, where you're thinking about making ecological choices and avoiding like litter or pollution to help with the environment. But I like reading this on a more personal level, intuitively, as that affects me a little bit more, but certainly good to keep in mind. Okay, so we've done the spread, we've tried them out. I think I showed you most of the features of the different decks. I think for now I'm going to keep my subscription, see what we get next time. It's just nice getting decks in the mail. Big fan of that. It was good seeing you guys, and I will be back later. Bye.